Ok, todos me ouvindo? Sim? Olá, pessoal, bem-vindos, bem-vindos. Que bom estar aqui com vocês. Então, hoje nós temos uma noite especial, que é uma masterclass com a Colleen sobre o ensino do Reiki, sobre ser um profissional do Reiki, sobre ser um praticante. Então, eu estou muito feliz de compartilhar hoje com ela e a Robyn Benelli, que é parceira dela no Reiki Lifestyle, também está aqui, né? Então, as duas ensinam juntos, são minhas professoras, a Robyn e a Colleen Benelli. Elas são minhas professoras do ICRT Animal Reiki, dos 12 céus, explorando os 12 céus, e também do Next Step with Reiki. Além disso, a Colleen Benelli é a minha mentora dentro do programa de mestres licenciados do ICRT. E ela é uma pessoa que é conhecida, ah, tanto aqui no Brasil como fora do Brasil, como uma pessoa, uma professora que impulsiona os seus alunos profissionalmente. Então, a gente percebe nos cursos muitos profissionais procurando a Colleen para ser sua professora, porque ela tem uma visão maravilhosa do Reiki, ampla, tem um negócio de Reiki que funciona muito bem. Então, não poderia ser uma melhor pessoa para estar aqui com a gente hoje e falar sobre esse tema, que muitas pessoas têm dificuldade sobre a parte profissional. Tem tantas, às vezes, dores e questões e dúvidas que as pessoas têm sobre isso, e eu acho que ela aborda esse tema de uma forma muito amorosa, suave, consistente e também eficaz. Então, eu espero realmente que vocês aproveitem essa noite, é, enfim, e possam tirar suas dúvidas e receberem também energias curativas para que vocês simplesmente se destravem na sua prática. Tá bom, pessoal? Então, eu apresento para vocês a Corinne Benelli.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here. Sue and I and Robyn are very excited to be able to talk with you today. And we were really trying to determine the format of this kind of meeting and talk. And so there's a couple of ways that we wanted to do this. Of course, we prepared and thought about the things that we would talk about today. But we also want to answer your questions. Robyn and I do a podcast once a month. That is what it's a question and answer podcast. And so we also thought we would do things in that format here so that you have the opportunity to ask what you want to know about as well. And we will probably do more of these meetings regularly. We are so very honored to be connected with all of you in Brazil and, just having this opportunity to be part of our global community. And we're so fortunate now in today's world to have this method of communication. So Robyn is my daughter, and she teaches with me as well, and co-owner of Reiki Lifestyle. And then Sue is also technically, I'm her mentor through the licensed teacher program, but also she mentors me as well, as that always goes. The student and the teachers work together, and she is highly skilled and has lots of great information. I do want to give Sue a shout out for her presentation at the International Reiki Retreat in Sedona, Arizona, just last weekend. In fact, I think you just got home late last night, didn't you, Sue? Yes. So anyway, she did a fabulous presentation on the meeting the divine animal kingdom, a Reiki journey to meet the divine animal kingdom. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out because she did a great job. I got to watch it online, and I was really excited for her to get to do that. And so I think what I would like to do to begin with, as I know it's evening for all of you, and it's been a busy day for me. So what I'd like to do is start off with an invocation. And since this topic is about teaching, whenever we begin anything like this is a meeting, and when Robyn and I are doing podcasts, when we start our classes, we do some type of what we call an invocation. So the invocation is something that you can do in your own style, however that, relates and resonates with you. The purpose of the invocation is to bring the light of Reiki, the breath of Reiki, into the gathering. Also, I always think of us as a divinely ordered circle. And we were all meant to be here together, those who are listening today, those who listen later. And in this divinely ordered circle, right now, we're kind of each in our own home, in our own place. What will happen with the invocation is that that energy is going to bring the circle together. So it has the effect and the result of actually all of us being in the same room together. So it's actually creating a container so that as we are doing our work today, we will all be together with our work. And then we also invite Reiki energy in. I personally work with spiritual guides and teachers. I have many, many beautiful beings of the light that are here and present. And so they will be joining us. And we also come together in gratitude. So what we thought we would do today to begin with is start with the invocation. We'll go into the next section where Robyn, Sue, and I will be here to talk about teaching Reiki, also to answer your questions. And they don't have to be only about teaching Reiki. They can be questions that you have. And then before we complete, we are going to do what is called the Holy Fire Healing Experience. And that is going to be to assist you in letting go of any limitations or resistances or blockages that you have. Not everyone is called to teach Reiki. And even if you are not talking about teaching it professionally, but that you think it's just part of your everyday life that you want to express in your daily life and how you live your life, all of it goes together. Lots of people take the Reiki Master training and the Karuna Reiki Master training simply for their own personal development. Today, we're going to talk about both because we wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about that little bit more professional level of teaching and give you the opportunity to ask any questions. But again, we will open it up to discussion around, really any of the Reiki topics that you are interested in. I don't think I actually introduced Robyn, other than she's my daughter and a business partner with me. Many of you may have seen her in the Brazil Congress that was a couple weeks ago. And so, Robyn, do you just want to say hi? And
yeah, I didn't. There were more people that joined since I said hi, but yes, hello to everybody. And I do see a few familiar names here from the Brazil Congress. I think that was just last week, but it feels like maybe it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm actually not going to be able to stay the whole time, but I just wanted to pop in and be a part of this with Sue and Colleen and everybody else that's here. I wanted to say really quick, Colleen, since you were talking about the invocation, that we, as you were saying, we do these invocations for a lot of reasons, and we actually do them for our Reiki classes as well, since we are talking about this. And the reason that we do that is you can tend to feel a difference personally as a teacher or a practitioner when you are able to do preparation, so Reiki preparations. And that's essentially what an invocation is. It's a style of a preparation. And you can really feel a difference in yourself, and how the Reiki flows and how you're able to flow. But it also can make a difference for students coming into a class, because whether we're online or we're in person, it can be very busy getting to class. You can have a busy home if you're online, and being able to bring in that Reiki energy is very helpful to help kind of ground everybody into the space, create that container of the space. And it's not required to teach, but it's just something that we've found over the years that can be very helpful if you feel called to do so. And that's why we're going to do that here. Again, it's going to help bring us together. It's going to help us all ground, bring in the Reiki energy. And after that, I don't know, there's lots of resources on invocations that you can do. Colleen, I don't know if, we wanted to show that or what, because I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but just to, if anybody is interested in that, we do have resources on how you can do that.
Well, let's do the invocation. I can feel, here's what Robyn was talking about it. I can feel myself, I'm actually fairly scattered. And one of the things that the invocation does is brings my energy together. And so now it's going to bring me in, so that as we are sharing today, it's going to have a more easy flow for me in talking, and then also for you in being able to listen. So in the invocation, you can leave your video on or turn it off, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And we're just going to do a little bit to bring the Reiki energy in. When you go to do something like this, you can do it completely in your style, with your language, or what I used to have to do. I used to have to write them out and read them, because I'd get so nervous trying to do it, just, like saying them out loud. So I used to write them out. And I also used to use other people's and write them out and read them. So just saying that's okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get comfortable. Another way I can tell that I'm ready for an invocation is when I keep talking. So we'll go ahead and get comfortable now. And close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. And place your hands comfortably on your body as you open your heart and receive the light of Reiki. Breathe deeply as the light of Reiki travels in on your breath. It flows through your crown chakra, into your body, through your feet, and into the earth. And the light of Reiki travels up from the earth and merges with the light of the heaven, the light of Reiki, unifying right here in your heart. As you breathe in the light and the power of love by every name that it's called. And the power of love travels in on your breath and reveals the power of love within you. This is who you are at the core of your being. And you begin to remember now from the infinite source of love, a love that is right here within you. And as you breathe in the light and the power of the divine mind. And the divine mind travels in on your breath, flowing through your body and awakening, revealing your divine mind, your higher thought and higher consciousness, opening the field of possibilities within you. As you breathe in the light of the divine mind, your authentic intuition wakes up. Your imagination, your instinct, your inner truth, inner knowing, inner authority, all wake up. As you breathe in the light of the divine mind, it flows through your body and awakens your gut brain, your heart brain, your head brain, and your whole body and your perceptions are awake and listening, filled with life force and higher consciousness, vitality, insight, and innovation. And as you breathe in the light and the power of the divine heart. And the divine heart travels in on your breath and awakens your divine heart. And as you breathe in the light of your divine heart, your heart light shines. It shines within you. It shines in front of you and behind you and on each side. Your heart light shines below you, deeply into the earth, and above you into the heaven. And all the way around you is the light of Reiki filling the space in the room where you are, filling your home, filling your space with the power of love and the divine mind and pure heart. And as you breathe in the light of the earth, and the heartbeat of the earth rises through you, beating in the same rhythm as your own heart. When you listen, you can hear the heartbeat of the earth, and your heart aligns with it, and you remember that your body is made of the earth to give your spirit breath and life. And as you breathe in, the light of the heavens, the light of God, shines directly on you, flowing through you. And you remember now that your spirit is made of this light, and that your spirit and your body are one light, one breath, your light, this breath, at this moment in time. And you remember now as your spirit ignites and your wholeness is revealed, your brilliance and your beauty and your glory are all revealed. And you remember now that your soul, your divine spirit decided to come to the earth to be human and to experience your human spirit. And so your divine spirit and your human spirit, your divine nature and your human nature are all one in this time in your soul's journey, in your soul's history. And like the tree of life, your roots grow deeply into the earth all around you, and you receive the nourishment of the earth and communicate with the earth through your root. And your roots provide you with stability and strength and nourishment, and your own personal power rises through you. And your branches reach to the heavens, receiving the wisdom and the knowledge of the heavens, of the spiritual realms of the infinite consciousness. And your branches receive the wisdom of the ancients on the four winds blowing through them, the ancient wisdom of the people, of the animals, of the trees, and of the earth, the ancient wisdom of the stones and of the waters, and of the beautiful beings of the light that walk this earth and join us here on our earth walk. And as you breathe in the divine light of compassion. Compassion fills your breath. The power and authority of compassion within you. Zonar, Halu, Har, Rama, Nosa, Iava, Shanti, Kriya, holy fire. Breathe deeply and receive. Open your heart and receive. The light of your authentic self is revealed. Your perceptions expand. All around you are the beautiful beings of the light, those beloved and sacred ones that you are in relationship with, are here and present for you and with you. The enlightened beings of your heart are here with you. The angels and the archangels are here and present. Jesus and God are here. Kuan Yin is here. The divine animal kingdom is here. The ascended masters are here. The spirit of the earth is here. Our brothers and sisters in the light are here. There is a great gathering that has come together with us all. The spiritual realms are here supporting you, supporting us. And there's a celebration that you have come here to be with them, to remember who you are. Sometimes, though, because of the ways and worries of the world, because of experiencing human life at this time on the earth, it can seem as if our own spirit, your own spirit, is hidden from your own view. Sometimes injuries that you have sustained in this lifetime to your well-being, your mind, your emotions, your body, sometimes injuries that are sustained in this lifetime, sometimes they're from other lifetimes, sometimes your ancestral histories, can create veils that cause you to forget just how beautiful and extraordinary you are. They're like layers that can hide your spirit from you, hide your wholeness from you, hide your glory from you. And so as you breathe in the light of Reiki travels in on your breath and envelops those layers or injuries or veils that seem to hide you from you, to hide your brilliance from you, your higher thought, your higher mind, your beautiful, pure heart, the love that you are. And so the light of Reiki travels in on your breath and envelops those layers that hide you, and any of the cords or connectors or attachments that have seemed to connect to you. The light of Reiki dissolves them and lifts those cords, connectors, veils, and layers that hide you from you for you, carrying them into the light, where all that you release is healed through the power of love and divine compassion and the grace of forgiveness. And the burdens are lifted from you, no longer yours to carry, as you belong to you, your wholeness, your glory, and your brilliance shines through you. And as you breathe in the light and the power of love, the light and the power of the divine mind, and the light and the power of the pure heart, all waking up and revealed right here so that you can see you, know you, feel you, to experience your own inner truth, your light. And remember, in truth, you are a beautiful being of the light here on the earth to experience this earth and being human at this time in history, in this time in the history of your soul. And so you remember now that your body and your spirit are one light, one breath. This light, your breath, right now. So look inside and say thank you to you. We say thank you to each other. The circle is always divinely ordered. And you are here listening to you, finding you, discovering you and your truth. And we join together in this beautiful community to share in the wellness here in the world for all the ways of our lives, the differences in where we live and our cultures and everything else. We share in common a love for wellness, for contributing to this earth, contributing to the betterment of the people, the animals, the earth itself. And we say thank you to the enlightened ones that have dedicated their soul's experience, their spirit, to assisting us here on the earth. Thank you to the enlightened ones. Thank you to Reiki. Thank you to the 12 heavens. And we also say thank you to the teachers who came before us. Since ancient times, people have called to the divine in the heaven, called to the divine in the earth, called to the divine within to live lives of love, thriving, and well-being. And the people in the ancient times became the teachers who taught the students, who became the teachers and taught the students all the way in the lineage to us today, the students who become the teachers, and those teachers who become the students as we say thank you to the descendants who will come after us, as we are listening to them as well and inviting all that we need today to assist in the future well-being of life on earth. And we are honored to be light bringers in the lineage of light bringers today, here at this moment in time. So take this time, open your heart and receive, as this time is for you and about you. Even those of you who are planning to take this into the world to teach others, right now is about you and for you. Again, look inside and say thank you to you for following your heart to discover you. Thank you. And so it is. And so you can take your time coming back. So again, now that we've done the invocation, and Robyn, maybe you can help me out with this too, to explain it, that if you go back and listen to it, you can hear the energies of Reiki that I'm inviting for you to breathe in. Now, because I don't know everybody here, and we do honor the tradition of not sharing the names of the symbols, we can the Karuna symbols, but the names of the symbols, then the way that we've done that and written them is that, for instance, the power of love is inviting in the energy of the power symbol, or CKR. I'm sure all of you here have Chokeray. So the power of the divine mind is inviting in the light of the mental emotional symbol. The power of the pure heart is inviting in the energy of the distance symbol. And then we're inviting in the master symbol, the Usui master symbol, DKM, through the light of the earth, the light of the heavens. And then that spirit igniting is the energy of holy fire. We also work with the energy we call tree of life, which is the animal Reiki symbol and energy. And we also work with the Karuna symbols. So when you listen to the invocation, filling your breath with all of that energy, then knowing the way that Reiki works, it also fills your breath, goes into your body, and begins to help you release the things that hide those qualities of your truth from you. Sometimes because of being human and living on the earth, we can feel as if we are hidden from our own, glory, our own brilliance, our own truth. And so the light of Reiki will just simply travel in, release the cords and connectors, and release those layers from you and carry them into the light for you. You do not have to be responsible for healing all the reasons that you have things that might create veils of forgetting of who you truly are, that you're in truth a beautiful being of the light. At this time in your soul's journey, experiencing you here from the infinite realms of possibilities of your soul, this is where you are right now. So the life force energy of Reiki travels in on your breath, and it actually will do that releasing for you. And it does that through the power of love and the authority of love, because love is what creation is made of. However that makes sense to you, however you resonate with it. For me, there's God, there's Jesus, there's the Holy Spirit, there are my other beings that I have worked with for years and years, understanding the spirit of the earth, some of the other goddesses that I have worked with and continue to work with, like Kuan Yin. So inviting all of them to come in too, and they come in and help that release happen. Then what happens is Reiki will actually come in and fill your breath, fill your body with who you truly are, and reveal to you that in truth, you are meant to be in your wholeness. It's your divine right to love yourself. It's your divine right to honor you, to see yourself. And so what we see a lot of times in Reiki, when I first thought I was seeking everything with Reiki, I really thought I was looking for God. And I had spent a lifetime, I was raised Catholic. And then as an adult, I started to question that authority. And so I was trying to always find some pathway that could connect me internally and with my own truth about what I believed and what was true for me. And so the light of Reiki came in, and like I said, I thought I was looking for God. And then what I really found out is that the light of Reiki was taking me to the depth of myself so that I could hear me. And that's what I see so often in students, is that there's an inner calling. Each of you can probably relate to the idea that there's something inside of you that inspires you to continue to find you, to discover you, to be able to hear you, to be able to tap into the depths of you. So that's what the invocation is doing. It's bringing in healing, and then it's bringing in empowerment. It's also activating your awareness of the spiritual guides that are around you. And that can be unique for each one of you, whatever your belief system is. As we know, Reiki doesn't have a particular belief system, but it will empower you in yours. And so that's what the invocation is doing. I kind of invite a broad spectrum of them because they're here for you as well as for me. And they come in. And then in the invocation, there's the time of bringing the circle together by saying thank you to each other, that we were meant to be here together today. Having you say thank you to yourself takes you to that awareness of you and your present right here, right now. And then, of course, saying thank you to the enlightened ones, but then also saying thank you to the teachers who came before us, the descendants who come after us. I did a Reiki journey the other night, and the importance of that statement came in. I've always said it. Thank you to the teachers who came before us, the descendants who come after. And the other day, I just had this huge revelation of how actually important it is that we are aware of ourselves in this lineage on the earth, and whether that it doesn't have to be your blood lineage, but it's just the lineage of people who are here for this purpose, to learn these ways, teach these ways, remember these ways, and to remember our own personal sovereignty and our own inner truth. So going to the invocation, because we start everything we do with an invocation. This one was long. Sometimes they're short. Sometimes it's like, place your hands on your body, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and let the light come in from above. The light rises through you and meets within you. And we take this time to say thank you and welcome. So it can be short. It could be words that are your truth and the way you say them. It can be something as simple as, let's bring our circle together and have everybody speak their name into the circle. So you get to adapt what that looks like according to both what you are doing, the circle of people that are gathered, like what I might share here, and the way I would say it here in this group and in this community, where I feel comfortable sharing things like talking about the spirit guides that are here. If I were in a medical setting, I would make that much more practical, and I would make it more like, just breathe in and relax from your head all the way down to your feet. So there isn't a particular right way to gather the circle together. It's your way of doing that. At the same time, we do provide different ways for you to do that. So, there are, like I say, for me, I had to teach myself because I was terrified about doing a prayer in front of people. And so I used to just write it down. And I think, well, first of all, actually, even before I wrote it down, I used other people's CDs, and I would have them do the meditation for it. And then I got more comfortable, so I started to write down what I wanted to say, how I wanted to bring the circle together. And then eventually I got to where I memorized it. And then eventually I got to where I could just let come through whatever does. Like it doesn't have to be the exact same thing every time. And adapt it to the group of people that you're with. So anyway, Robyn or Sue, do you want to add to what I was just talking about?
Apenas, você quer que eu compartilhe a tela do website onde eles podem encontrar o guia das invocações?
Sure. And it occurs to me now that we should be able to get this translated on AI.
Yeah, I was putting the questions and things that were coming through in the chat into Chat GPT, and it translated it pretty well.
Really, from what was in the chat? Love it. Okay, those are the articles.
Sue, it's in the free downloads.
Free
Go down
downloads.
more. There you go.
So can you explain that these are free downloads? And then go ahead and click on the Spanish one.
Sim, então, pessoal, aqui vocês têm nesse site da Colleen Benelli, da Robyn Benelli, esse link para vocês baixarem aqui as invocações e orações no idioma inglês e também em espanhol. E espanhol, para quem não fala inglês, fica bem fácil de entender e é gratuito. Então, vocês clicam aqui e aí já vai abrir para vocês fazerem direto o download do PDF, né? E aí já baixa diretamente, vocês podem salvar no seu computador e tá aqui, né? Maravilhoso, um passo a passo de como fazer, todos os detalhes. E realmente eu gosto muito de usar as invocações tanto em cursos como em sessões de Reiki, né? E às vezes em encontros que a gente faz de Reiki. Eu acho que faz toda a diferença realmente a gente fazer uma invocação para começar, porque a energia muda totalmente. Então, tem vários exemplos aqui que a Colleen e a Robyn colocaram para vocês e é totalmente gratuito, tá? É realmente uma dádiva que a gente recebe aqui por elas, né? Então, é maravilhoso.
I'm thinking that maybe what we could do, Sue, if we do a follow-up email, is put a link to it in the follow-up email, so they don't have to look for it on our website. Our website is very old, and so it doesn't translate. We're getting a new one, but we've been saying that for a year. It's almost ready. So anyway, we can put a link to that. Again, Robyn, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I know there's a lot to cover, so I think Sue showing that was great.
Okay, well, do we want to start with any of the questions? Or do we want to go into, I guess
Eu acho que podemos ir direto pro que você se organizou para falar e depois nós vamos para as perguntas.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, well, there's a lot about teaching Reiki, and then there's also the simplicity of it. So, by the simplicity is where I'm going to start, because a lot of times people feel intimidated about teaching Reiki or getting started to teach Reiki, or how are you going to do it? How does it all work? And I will tell you, I've been teaching Reiki now for almost 25 years. And what I know now is that what I brought with me in my very first class was equally as important as what I bring with me today. And the simplest awareness about teaching Reiki is that you just bring your heart. That's what your students are looking for. Of course, after this many years, can I answer questions maybe a little bit more explicitly? Do I know more about the history of Reiki because I've lived it, and things that I can explain? But the most important thing that your students care about is that you bring your heart with you, that you are authentic and sincere. And I know for myself, I used to get nervous. I don't get nervous anymore, but I used to get nervous. And one of the things to realize with that really helped me is it wasn't about me. Nobody was there for my performance. They're there because they want to receive Reiki. And that's something I know I can do because Reiki is doing that work. And I'm simply facilitating. So my advice is in that simplicity is to know that Reiki orchestrates the students and the teachers and the lineage of Reiki. And maybe that's another piece to touch on is that all the different lineages. So for instance, we teach Usui Holy Fire World Peace Reiki. So that is a lineage, and we have particular techniques that we use to access and connect with Reiki. Those are all in a manual. There is an outline that matches the manual, and we can follow that outline that has the different tools and the different techniques that we use. Other lineages may have a variety of techniques and tools that they use. And all of those are designed to give us a physical way to connect with Reiki, receive Reiki, and also then deliver Reiki. So that's true when we're a practitioner, and it's also true when we are teaching. So the idea that Reiki orchestrates the students and the teachers is both a long-held experience that I have had in teaching so many people, but also a historic perspective, that people are drawn to the lineages of Reiki that resonate with them. So as an example, some of the lineages of Reiki are very strict in their practices. They're very definite about do things exactly this way. This is the right way to do this. This is the wrong way to do this. In our lineage, we teach more of a personal style of Reiki, teaching the students how to receive Reiki that will take them to their inner truth and the ways that Reiki makes sense for them. All of it is equal. The very structured style, the very strict style of Reiki, people still receive Reiki. A little bit more flexible is a good term maybe for the way we teach Reiki. The people are receiving Reiki. So it really is a matter of the resonance. So where this leads you is when you go to teach Reiki and you have a student that comes to you or students, you can trust that Reiki orchestrated that student with you and that you are meant to be the one to share Reiki with. Now, when we are sharing Reiki, there can be a variety of ways that we do that. Sometimes there are needs of people that we share Reiki with them because they simply need it. And we either give them an attunement or we give them, do a Reiki session with them simply because that's what they need. Perhaps they have chronic illness or they are the caregiver of somebody that they could use the support of Reiki energy. Then there's actually the Reiki training. So when we are teaching a Reiki 1 and a Reiki 2 class, they are there to start with training and receiving the Reiki energy, and then also learning the tools and techniques that give them that connection to the Reiki energy. So that's the first step of understanding teaching, is to really trust in the Reiki energy, that the right student and the right teachers get matched. And the most important thing with your students is that they are there with you, just sharing authentically. It's always okay. Let's say you're in the outline in the manual and there's something you don't really know a lot about. And I'll just use the history of Reiki as an example for that, because I happen to really like the history of Reiki. I've lived it, I've studied it, and it's something that I'm personally engaged with. So my history can run 40 minutes long. But another person, the student can read about it. The history is in the manual. The student can actually read about it to the degree that they're interested. So let's say for you that, the history, you kind of know a little bit about it. And so you can trust that what you share is just authentic. You don't have to know everything about it. There can be techniques that you use. So, for example, in Reiki 1 and 2, we teach both an intuitive style of placing your hands. So we teach how Usui Sensei practiced, where he did bios and scanning to determine where he would place his hand. We also teach the standardized hand positions that Mrs. Takata developed, the foundation treatment, where you place your hands over your eyes, top of your head, back of your head, shoulder, heart, etc. You as a teacher may resonate more with an intuitive style, and you may resonate more with the standardized style of the hand position. And you as the teacher get to determine your emphasis about that or what you know about each. I know in the Japanese Reiki techniques and in the Reiki 1 and 2 manual has Jackie Kiri Jokaho. I actually don't like using it, and I don't really teach it. So I get to have that choice. I get to have, some discernment. And I mean, we teach the whole outline, so it doesn't mean that I leave everything out that isn't my preference. But I can say that authentically. I can say, well, here's how you do Jackie Kiri Jokaho, but I don't really love it. So I may just, be sincere about that. Or I may not say anything about it, but just, kind of brush over it lightly. So the authenticity of your teaching is really the most important part. You also can teach it according to your schedule. So for instance, I teach the master class in 3 days. You may decide that it's easier for you to teach 1 day, 3 weekends in a row, or, 6 evenings in 6 weeks that you might do once a week for 6 weeks. So a lot of the way you teach, the structure you teach, really gets to be determined by you. And how you want to do things is also that you get to determine that according to you. So before I keep going about that, both Sue and Robyn, do you want to add to that? And then also, are there any questions?
I would say, of course, I agree with everything. Saw Helena taking a drink. I'll give you a second to catch up. One of the things that was really helpful when I first started teaching was starting with people that I knew. And in the chat, I went ahead and translated it in Chat GPT, so it could be slightly off, but I think the gist of this is just that confidence when it comes to people. And I know that for me, that was something that was really helpful when starting teaching, was teaching with people that I knew, so that I could work through the kinks that I needed to as a teacher better, different things of like, oh, I maybe wouldn't do that next time, or oh, I talked too long here and wasn't able to cover this. So I needed to adjust some of those things. And that also, by doing that and them knowing that that was what I was doing, is helping me build my skills. And they were still getting a lot out of the class. Like Colleen said, you're still bringing your heart. They're still being connected to the Reiki energy. That really helped me to get some real practice in, where I feel like I could have prepared as much as possible, but without actually doing it with live people, that I didn't feel that full click in with it. And so to me, that was something that was really helpful for all the classes. And I even would offer those for free, or maybe just the cost of the manuals, just my costs, so that everybody benefited from it as well. And I knew that Reiki was still doing the work. And so they were still getting a great class, and it was definitely a win-win situation. That's what I would add to what you were saying.
Sue, did you have anything you want to add?
No, I agree with everything. There is only one thing that I used to do in the beginning. I say Reiki. Sorry, I'm speaking English.
Go ahead and speak Portuguese. It's okay.
Então tinha uma coisa que eu fazia quando eu comecei, né, a ensinar, que foi a reprogramação mental com o Reiki, para ajudar a minha mente subconsciente a ter segurança. Então, eu colocava as minhas mãos na minha cabeça e começava a fazer afirmações positivas, no sentido, afirmações que para mim trariam segurança, como eu sou uma mestre de Reiki que tem conhecimento e oferece boas aulas e passa conteúdos apropriados, sabe lidar com as situações de aula, enfim, várias frases Eu usava com a reprogramação mental, né, com o Reiki a técnica, com o Reiki, justamente para ajudar a minha mente subconsciente a ter mais confiança sobre sobre o meu estado em sala de aula mesmo.
So the other part of this is also who your students are. So that's one of the other things that typically, what I'll do in the structure of my class is most of the time I like to do an invocation first, then I'll have the students introduce themselves. And based on who is actually there, I may modify some of my language, some of the ways that I'm teaching. Like I say, if I'm teaching a group in a medical setting, I would really modify my languaging around that group of people. If I'm in another group where, because we practice and teach such a spiritual style of Reiki, then if I'm in a group like this, I go ahead and just use the language that is kind of how it all works for me. But also know that it's okay for you to adapt it to your way. It's really important. So, for example, as we share this invocation booklet with you, if the way you would say the same thing is different, you get to say it your way. And you also get to base that on who you're actually teaching and what the group is like. Let's say you are teaching a group that has a particular religious belief system or belong to a particular religion. You can absolutely use that languaging then. Or if you were with a group of people who are not a part of a religion and they're more scientifically based, you may use more of that type of language. So a lot of it is also, being comfortable how you want to explain things, and then also feeling like you're comfortable with the people that have joined. A lot of times, because I most commonly have not met my students before the morning they show up, I find out about that in the introductions. So the other thing that happens, as I said earlier, there's always the divinely ordered circle. Every class is different. The group that gathers will show up with a particular theme that you may not know right away, but as you go through the day or the next day, you start to recognize, oh, this circle has these kinds of questions. This circle has this type of interest. So for instance, I could be teaching a master class where very few of the students are there wanting to ever teach. They just simply want the expansion of the Reiki energy, the consciousness it brings. So I still always go over the teaching materials, but I don't emphasize it as much as maybe what else they're interested in. Or I may have another class where all of them want to teach. And so then I know there's going to be more of that discussion. There's going to be more of those kinds of questions. So you also get to determine that. And then the other thing that you are, noticing is what level of, background do they have? Sometimes people, I am always so impressed that people will come to a class somewhere along the line. They heard the word Reiki, it clicked in for them, and they decided to take a class. Or maybe they've had one session before and they decide they want to take a class. You'd be surprised at how often people just hear the word Reiki and know they're called to it and take a class with never even having had a session. So you're also, when you're teaching, you're modifying it according to who's there. My last master class that I taught, I had 11 students. 6 of them were from other countries and very diverse countries. And 2 were brand new to Reiki. They knew nothing about Reiki. And a couple of them were just Reiki 1 and 2, and they were reviewing. They wanted to know more. And it was a very advanced class. It ended up like some of the things that we went into just naturally went into a very kind of advanced perception. And I just trusted that even though those students that were brand new were beginners in all of these topics, that they were meant to be in that circle and they were ready for the level of Reiki that showed up in that particular circle. Every class is different. The other beautiful part about it is you as the teacher continue to learn from every single class. People come in with Reiki information, or with information, even day one, knowing nothing about it, and they will say something that I didn't know. And it's like, oh, listen to what that came through. So you still get to develop and grow personally with every class as well. So adapting it to the people. And one of the reasons we do the invocations the way that we do is the same way Reiki's doing the work when you are a practitioner, when you are teaching and you've got that Reiki energy engaged, that's going to come through and help you teach. So it isn't something that I necessarily have to think and figure out while I'm teaching it. It just starts to flow because Reiki is organizing all of it. And it's teaching through me, even though I'm following a physical structure, because in this lineage, we have manuals, we have outlines, and the outlines that tell you exactly, what's next. And you can mix it up. But for those of you that are new with it, you may not be comfortable saying, what you were going to do in number 2, now you do in 10, and you switch them around. So we do have outlines, we have a structure. At the same time, Reiki is going to come through your voice and help you teach. It will also help you with, if let's say you start off the day with some nervousness, it'll help you with that nervousness, and you'll observe it just kind of dissipating, and any of those concerns about, do you know enough? Are you skilled enough? Are you ready for this? It all just starts to go away because Reiki's doing the work on you as well. So, Robyn, I think that's a good segue into imposter syndrome. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's one of the big limitations that people have sometimes is imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So what Colleen means when imposter syndrome is kind of the term that has been coined for when we feel maybe we are not qualified to teach or qualified to do something. In this case, it's to teach. So you'll hear that term now. It's used in a lot of different ways. I think also people can feel that way when it comes to becoming a practitioner as well. Also, one of the aspects of that is that you may feel qualified to teach, but there's other teachers out there who have taught for a long time, and you think, why would anybody take a class from me when they could take a class from the other people? So it can lead to kind of that feeling of inadequacy or self-doubt or insecurity. And as Colleen was saying before, one of the wonderful things about Reiki is that there is that kind of divinely ordered relationship between teacher and student. And there's a quote that is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And this is also true for practicing. So a student who might be right for Colleen might be different than someone who's right for me. So there is that aspect of Reiki that, because you have this energetic piece of it, that you can know that Reiki will take care of that. And also that there are 8 billion people and there are enough people for everybody to, find the right teacher, and for teachers to finding the right students. Of course, you have things in marketing and stuff like that, but this is really about overcoming that self-doubt within you. And one of the things that is really helpful about Reiki energy is that it can help you to do that. Kind of as Sue was saying earlier with Seihei Ki, Reiki energy you can allow it to come in and release the places that imposter syndrome might limit you, release the unhealed parts. And that can then really allow for Reiki energy to come in and fill up those places that there's that release bin, to empower you to overcome that imposter syndrome and really start being empowered in yourself and believing in yourself, that you are worthy to teach, that you are as capable as the next person, that you do have gifts and talents to present to the world as far as who you are as a teacher. And the thing that's what I love about Reiki with this is that it also helps those limit, because it's an energy. So we're not just talking about the linear aspects of teaching. It's partly that too, but Reiki also helps for us to overcome those kinds of limiting beliefs. Imposter syndrome is a limiting belief because it can create comparison. And it's okay too that you're going to start off as a teacher in one way, and that your practice is going to evolve, it's going to grow, it's going to change. And we all have to start somewhere. And to know that sometimes it is just about starting. And I know that can be kind of the scariest leap to take sometimes, and that confidence. And so working with yourself with Reiki, maybe even receiving a session, if you can identify, oh, here are some of the places that's holding me back. So because really imposter syndrome, there's a lot of tools and techniques that you can use to overcome it. You can even look it up online and research imposter syndrome, but the Reiki energy helps so much with that underlying support for all of it, so that you can use the Reiki energy to start, and then you can build from there and build from that confidence. Sometimes it just takes that leap of faith, which I know for me, I can be kind of a shy person, which not everybody expects that of me, but I can be. And so that initial leap of faith can be the hardest. And that's not true for everybody, but it is for me. And if I can just do that and go into that place of Reiki energy and trying to help support it to empower me, to have that bravery, that we have that fear and we face it regardless. It may not release it completely, but maybe it can help us move through it. Those are the places that Reiki can really help. You can also find supportive community. So, different groups or Facebook pages, even Facebook groups can help. Groups where you live, if that's possible. I know that's not possible for everybody because it may not be common in your area, but that can be, you can find them online, and having just that network, that group can be really helpful, and exchange ideas, or maybe something somebody says really helps it all to click and give you that um, that confidence to just try and start. And so also know that it's very normal. And that's why part of the reason that we talk about it is because we would like to normalize it in Reiki, that even however many years later, you can still have imposter syndrome. I can still have imposter syndrome. When we were talking about this, Colleen was like, I can still have imposter syndrome in some aspects. I was like, what? So it's a very normal emotion. It's a very normal aspect to have as a part of that. But then especially when you're first starting off. And I know for me, it was helpful to know that other people were going through that as well. So, and the other thing is that people really crave authenticity right now. And so when you're first starting out, you're going to do things maybe on social media, or say things on social media, or say things in a podcast or presentation that you're going to look back on and be like, oh my gosh, that's so cringe. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Everybody does that. You grow and you evolve, and it's authentic. And that's what matters, is that you're being authentic, and people resonate with that. People need that in this world, especially the online world that we're all a part of right now. We need that authenticity because it helps for connection. And that is so important as well right now too, in this online world that we're in. That connection really matters. And so Reiki really, really helps with that imposter syndrome. And then there's other tools and techniques that you can Google as well. That subject can go very deep, very far. There's a lot about that. So I don't want to, it's just, I want to just kind of, brief on that a little. We all experience it.
We all experience it. Oh, thank you. And Sue, did you have anything you wanted to add? And also, we're going to go ahead and get to some questions.
Yeah, no, I think both of you said many important things here. It's so important, the authenticity. I was speaking in Portuguese already, again. Então, eu estava dizendo, desculpa, gente, é porque eu ouço elas falando em inglês e já vai automático na minha cabeça, e isso não ajuda nada a Helena com a tradução. Então, o que eu acho é que elas falaram tudo, realmente tudo o que era importante para dizer para vocês sobre autenticidade. A gente fala muito sobre isso, a importância de vocês serem totalmente autênticos na sua prática de Reiki enquanto professores, que não adianta ficar fazendo, imitando ou fazendo um gênero que não é vocês, porque não vai funcionar. Então, a gente cria conexão com as pessoas através das nossas histórias, através do nosso desenvolvimento com o Reiki, da nossa conexão com o Reiki, e a gente não ensina o Reiki simplesmente por ser uma profissão. Quando a gente decide ensinar o Reiki, é justamente porque fez tanta diferença para a nossa vida, nos curou tanto, a gente se conectou tão profundamente que a gente quer levar isso para o mundo. E se a gente fingir ser uma coisa que não vai funcionar, porque você não vai ter a conexão real com a outra pessoa vai perceber que está faltando alguma coisa. Então, eu entendo realmente que o ideal é vocês se conectarem com as suas histórias, com a sua verdade, com como vocês se sentem, né? Para então vocês levarem isso para a sala de aula. Como foi para você a sua cura com o Reiki? Né? Como que foi a cura com o Reiki para vocês? Como que vocês sentem o Reiki? Como que é isso na vida de vocês? E então levar isso para a sala de aula. E ter uma conversa com seus alunos como a que a gente tem aqui. Né? Então, quando vocês veem a Robyn falando, a Colleen falando, eu falando, vocês veem isso como uma naturalidade, porque sai do coração da nossa verdade, é o que a gente vive. Então, acho que o grande ponto é se você é verdadeiro, se você sente o reiki na sua vida, se você quer levar isso para as pessoas, você não tem que temer, né, ter a síndrome do impostor, porque aquilo é verdade, aquilo é real para você, aquilo existe na sua vida, é parte da sua vida. E quando vem um aluno para você, e eu percebo isso, né, e muitos de vocês são meus alunos, então vocês me ouviram antes, vocês ouviram a minha linguagem, vocês pesquisaram, vocês entraram na minha página, vocês viram como que eu falo, o que eu falo, e aí vocês escolheram fazer um curso. Então, eu não preciso ter medo de falar a minha verdade na sala de aula, porque vocês já sabem o que vocês vão encontrar ali. A gente já está alinhado, né? Já tem, e o Reiki, ele traz aqueles alunos que precisam vir para a gente mesmo, né? Que precisam ouvir o que a gente tem aqui para dizer. E que muitas vezes vão se conectar com o processo curativo que a gente passou, com as histórias que a gente passou. Então, acho que isso faz com que a gente se sinta mais livre. Então, num primeiro momento, num primeiro curso, muitas vezes a gente vai sentir aquele frio na barriga, né? Mas no final das contas a gente vai percebendo ao longo do tempo que quem chega para nossa aula é quem precisa estar ali para o que a gente tem a falar e essas pessoas querem ouvir. Muitas vezes esses alunos trazem informações para a gente que também nos ensinam. Então é muito legal que a gente esteja na sala de aula com o coração aberto e a mente aberta para que a gente possa também aprender com os nossos alunos. Porque o quanto eles vão aproveitar a aula, quais são as informações, as perguntas que eles vão colocar durante um compartilhamento, também nos ensina sobre como ensinar. E muitas vezes até sobre o próprio Reiki. Eu já tive vários alunos que colocaram assim, abriram o coração numa primeira aula falando coisas maravilhosas sobre o Reiki que nunca tinham passado pela minha cabeça. E eu falo assim, uau, que incrível. Então eu acho que apenas complementando isso do meu ponto de vista, o que a Colleen e a Robyn falaram agora. E acho que agora a gente pode ir para a experiência.
Okay. Well, great then. Okay. So I can't believe the time went this fast. Like, really, are we already an hour and a half into it? That's crazy. So, just so you guys know, we are so excited to be community with all of you and that we have this opportunity to share together and with the people of Brazil. And, it just really touches our heart that we're here and able to do this way. So we will be doing this again. And hopefully you can join us other times too. And so now seeing, okay, well, it went by very quickly. So what we'd like to do is go ahead and go into the holy fire experience. And this is the Holy Fire Healing experience is a really powerful way to release, let Reiki release from you any self-doubt, any imposter syndrome, as we were talking about that, any kind of fears around, will you know what you need to know? Because a lot of it, truthfully, you really just have to start. And that's my first piece of advice is when you go to teach, like Robyn said, if you're more comfortable having people that practice with them and teach with them. Some of you have already been teaching for a long time. And as you know, there's always more kind of skill that we develop over time. Main thing to remember is Reiki's always doing the work. People are there to receive Reiki, and they will always receive Reiki. Okay, so enough about that, but the Holy Fire Healing experience both lets go of the things that are limiting you, any challenges to goals you want to accomplish, and it also brings in the empowerment for you to really strengthen that. And as I say, I want to make sure that we clarify here that, it's okay if you're not feeling called to teach. We live our lives as that's also part of our teaching. So even though we're talking about that with a focus here, also know that however Reiki works for you matters for you. It matters for anyone else. And so allow it to come through you your way. Okay, so the Holy Fire Healing experience, I know some of you are already Holy Fire Masters, and so you may even have already been trained in this. But what we're going to do with this is take some time to identify an issue that you may want to have healed, or maybe it's a goal that you have kind of feeling like you're struggling to accomplish. And so I'm going to ask you some questions like, where is that in your body? What shape does it have? What color is it, etc. So any of you that have already learned this, that's the one we're doing. Then I'm going to guide you on a short meditation. The light of Reiki is going to shine directly on whatever it is that you identified. Usually it's a shape that will be in your body. And that light is going to gently release that from you for you. And the important thing to realize with Reiki is that it heals what you're letting go of. You're not casting it out. The power of love, the authority of compassion is lifting what you're letting go of out of you, carrying it into the light where it can be healed, but you don't have to be the one to do the healing of it. You just simply are saying yes to letting it go. Sometimes you have a powerful experience during the experience, and other times this happens over the next, several days or even a week or whatever. So let's go ahead and get to it. If you will go ahead and take a moment to close your eyes and get ready. You can get comfortable. You can turn your video off if you'd like. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So take a moment and close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. And as you breathe in the light of Reiki. It fills your breath, flows through your body, travels through your breath and your heart, your belly. The power of love awakens within you. Your divine mind is present. Your pure heart is awake and your light is shining. The light of the earth, the light of the heavens is flowing through you, and your spirit ignites. There are beautiful beings of the light that are here. Divine compassion is here. Tree of life is here. Breathe deeply now. Open your heart and receive. The light of your authentic self is revealed. Go within and listen with your heart. Is there an issue that you would like to have healed today? Or a goal that you're struggling to accomplish? And if that issue had a location in your body, where would it be? What kind of a shape does it have? What color is it? Is it heavy or light? Does it make a sound? Are you ready and willing to let it go today? And it's okay if it's all still formulating within you, because Reiki can read your body and read your energy and do this work for you, even if you're not completely sure about it. So close your eyes, take some deep breaths, place your hands comfortably on your body, and imagine yourself walking through a beautiful forest on a warm and sunny day. The light from the highest heavens is shining through the trees with great golden beams of light, filling the forest with amazing grace. As you walk along through the forest, you can feel the energy of the earth flowing up through your feet, and you can hear the songs of the birds. Smell the sweet fragrance of the flowers. And after a while, you come to another path, and it's leading off to the right. You decide to follow the path. And after a while following that path, you come to a clearing in the forest, a beautiful meadow. And in the center of the meadow is a small hill and a pathway leading to the hill. The meadow is filled with soft grass and wildflowers, butterflies and songbirds. The illumined beings, the enlightened ones, are here. The sky is blue with puffy white clouds. And you follow the pathway now to the small hill, and you decide to climb to the top. It's effortless. And the light from the highest heaven begins to descend all the way down through the clouds, filling the meadow, and the light shines directly on you and flows through your breath and your body. The light shines directly on the shape that you are ready to release, letting go of any limitations or blockages as the light begins to lift them from you for you. And you just simply lie with your back against the earth, gazing up into the light, the beauty of the day. And through this grace and the power of love, the light lifts from you your burdens. And now you take this time to be in your own inner experience. And I will be silent for a little while as the light is shining on you. The light is filled with love and truth and joy. The light is inviting you. The light is guiding you. Follow the light. And as the light is shining on the shape, look and see if there are any residuals that still need to release from you. And if so, simply receive the light and let it release it for you. And now we invite Reiki to continue to fill you with the light, to fill you with your own personal power in any place where the shape was released. Reiki flows in on your breath and fills your body with love, fills your body with your divine mind. Here in this beautiful meadow, opening the field of possibilities for you, building your confidence, your inner knowing, and your inner truth. Inviting continued insight. Look inside and say thank you to you for listening to you and taking this opportunity to heal and empower you. And now you can take as long as you like. When you're ready, you can come back into the room and open your eyes. I know we're coming back kind of quickly because of time. One thing to know with Reiki is that it will work within the time that you have, and it will also continue to work with you. One of the ways that you will notice is that Reiki can bring kind of spontaneous insights to you. So information may not even seem related to this topic, but suddenly you have a sudden knowing. Okay, well, with what time we have left, as I say, it went so much faster than I thought. Does anybody have any questions?
Na verdade, a gente tem uma série de perguntas.
Oh, okay. Great.
Eu gostaria, antes de seguir, de perguntar para você, Colleen, e para a Helena, se a gente pode ficar mais um tempinho.
Yes. Can you, Helena? Okay.
Para responder as perguntas. porque nós recebemos algumas perguntas, tem pergunta aqui no chat, e nós recebemos também perguntas dos nossos alunos do Centro de Treinamento de Reiki Felicidade. Então, acho que são perguntas bem interessantes para a gente colocar aqui, né? A não ser, tudo bem? Podemos seguir?
Yes. Mhm.
Ok. E se alguém mais tiver perguntas a fazer, por favor, coloquem no chat. Se vocês quiserem aproveitar para fazer alguma pergunta a mais, também coloquem no chat para que a gente possa responder. Tá bom, pessoal? Então, eu vou colocar aqui no. Eu tô recolocando aqui para você, Helena, uma pergunta da Andrea, se você puder passar para a Colleen, ou se você prefere que eu leia e você traduz. Eu leio em português, se você traduz, acho que é mais fácil, né? É. Então eu vou colocar. Eu vou ler então. Andréia, queria ter mais autoconfiança para aplicar nas pessoas. Aplico mais em animais, pois me sinto mais segura com eles. Não consigo me concentrar.
Well, interestingly enough, I feel like so much of what it was kind of surprising to me that this was what we talked about so much here today is the trust in your confidence to go ahead and just go for it. And even though it can feel intimidating or you can be nervous or a little bit insecure, you will find that as you simply start and just allow Reiki to come in and help you, that you will gain confidence. I think I had, well, when I first started, I'm going back to my very first class because I remember it well. And of course, I was all like, nervous. But as you get started and you really understand how deeply Reiki has made this happen between you and your student, you will gain the confidence. But the way you gain the confidence is to do it, because it's really the only way through it. It's so helpful to know that the outlines that are in the manuals, and the manuals are so well done that you can truly just start off with the outline in the class and follow it. Just like, okay, now we're going to do this, now we're going to do this, now we're going to do this. And over time, of course, you understand the manual better, the information better, and the content better. Just be authentic. It's even okay to say to the student, boy, am I nervous? Or it's okay to say to them, why don't you, here's the history, it's in the manual, it's well done. Here's a few of the things that, I think are helpful for you to know. And then just cover that. The way I used to do, well, I still do, but the way I'll do, for instance, the Reiki talk and Reiki 1, I will just go through that chapter 1 with the headers. So it may say Reiki, Ray and Ki, spiritually guided life force energy. On the next page, it might say, do all healers use Reiki? Well, I'll just go over those topics that are in the manual. And when I used to, when I was first learning it, I would kind of scan it as I was reading it. The other thing that I would say that is really helpful is that I have my outlines, even though I have been doing this for years, I have my outlines printed. They're right here next to me, so I can always look at them. And I've gone over my manual, so I know, and I've even marked down the pages. You can see in red, I have page numbers. So I at least know where things are in advance. and then I have my preparations done. So for me, that's what makes me feel more confident, is if I know that I have the things I need to feel prepared. So what that is for each of you will be your way. But the first thing is you just do it. Just go for it. Reiki's always doing the work. They will receive Reiki, whether you feel confident or nervous or not. They're still going to receive Reiki, which is the purpose.
Maravilhoso. Mais uma pergunta aqui da Thaís. Como podemos manter a integridade energética ao expandir nossa prática de Reiki para um público mais amplo, sem comprometer a qualidade das nossas sessões?
Well, if I understand the question again, and I don't mean it to be like a cliche, but truly, I let Reiki do the work. And that was a big change for me. I was explaining that in a podcast I did earlier today, that so many of us are what we call empathic. We feel the feelings of the world. We can feel the feelings of our clients, feel the feelings of our students. And because I've always cared so deeply about helping people, before I had Reiki, I used to use my own energy for that. When I received Reiki, and I was in my 40s when this happened, so I had a lot of experience before I received Reiki. I also had studied shamanism for 3 years already. And one of the things that really helped me with Reiki energy is now what happens is Reiki is flowing through me, and it is the energy that's doing the work. So it's no longer coming from my own output, from my own energy. Now the energy is coming through me instead of from me. And when I notice within me, if I get to where like that nervousness, for instance, or even if, for example, when we first started today, I could tell my mind was scattered. I bring Reiki in and I just actually let it do the work. So having that knowledge really helped, because the other thing that happened is it changed my empathy, because I now could understand this is theirs, this is me. That's theirs, this is me. I also do my Reiki preparations. So, for instance, the invocation that we did today is a verbal way of doing my preparations. If I am going into a session or even just sometimes walking through the world, I make sure that I place that Reiki energy around me so that it's acting like a filter. So other people's energy aren't coming through that filter to me. I'm not receiving it the same way I used to because of that empathy of feeling everybody's feelings. So, if somebody cried, I cried. If they were in pain, I was in pain. And so that was the piece that had to shift for me. And actually, really literally, the Reiki energy is what helps that happen. But for me, let's say I'm going to do my preparations physically. So I might draw the symbols in my hands, draw them in front of me, bring it into my body. I'll draw the symbols on the walls, the ceiling, and the floor, intending that that's a field of light around me. And that field of light around me is intelligent. It's also a very high frequency. So as lower frequencies energies may come towards me, that acts like a filter. And so that energy, that lower frequency energy, actually gets transmuted, or it goes somewhere else, and it doesn't impact me. Now, I just described doing that by drawing the symbols. I can also do that by thinking it. So sometimes I might not be in a place that it's comfortable to draw the symbols, or it's inappropriate to draw the symbols. So then I just think it in my mind, and I don't have to think chokeray there, chokeray there. I just ask Reiki to come in and create that field of light around me. It is higher consciousness. And so it also takes care of me. I think that's what you were asking, if that clarifies it. I also would have to say I had to build up kind of my spiritual muscles to be able to expand my practice to a larger practice. And so I would say initially, maybe I could see one client a day or two clients a day, and each one for 45 minutes. And then my capacity grew. I got, like I say, like a spiritual muscle, like you get stronger with it. Some of you will be stronger already, and you don't need that, that development. For me, I did need the development. And now at this point, well, I noticed I'm teaching in Japan. It's one of the places that I got to spend time with. Sue last year was in our Japan class on Mount Kurama. And I'm going to be teaching with William Rand. And then I'm also doing a Reiki 1 and 2 co-teach with Lena and Munikai, who are also in the LRMT program. I will be teaching for 10 days straight in Japan on the mountain. And so you just get to where you can hold more for a longer period of time. I've also been doing this for 25 years, so it's a little bit different, and doing it a lot for that long. But just trust yourself, and also allow yourself to grow into your practice, and allow yourself to grow into it your way. So it's okay if it develops over time. Of course, if you want to be more professional and you do want it to be a busier practice, just ask Reiki to help you do it and go for it. I can't tell you how often I'll say, you just do it. And the difference with Reiki is that I would say, yes, I can get tired after a full day of Reiki, but I'm never really depleted. So that's the difference. Like I don't feel like my energy is drained or I'm exhausted from that. I might be tired because I just simply started my day at 5 a.m. and finished my day tonight. I'll be finishing my day at about 8 o'clock tonight. And so all day long, I've been in podcasts, I've done sessions, I've been doing writing, everything. So by the time I go to bed, yes, I'm tired, I'm ready for bed, but I'm not depleted. And that's a very big difference to understand. I'm not like my energy isn't drained out of me. And that's because I'm not using my own energy. I'm letting Reiki come through and do it. So if I notice myself starting to get depleted, that's when I know I need more Reiki. Sometimes it'll feel like, oh, I should do less Reiki, when actually it's the opposite. If I start to get that feeling of like, whew, this is a lot, or my empathy gets overpowered, I actually bring in more Reiki rather than thinking, oh wow, I've reached my limit. I actually bring it in and let it take me beyond what I think of as my limit. Or maybe it really will say, yep, you're at limit. Time to call it good. Next time to call it good. So you learn to listen to yourself, you listen to the energy, and allow your own personal inner guidance to come in and help you through that part.
Que lindo, né, pessoal? Fala a verdade. Fala a verdade, que professora de Reiki, né, a gente tem aqui conosco nessa noite. É fantástico, né? Então, antes de ir para a próxima pergunta, eu queria falar para vocês, né, lembrar vocês que agora no fim do mês de setembro, né, nos dias 20, 21 e 22 de setembro, a gente vai ter o curso de mestrado de Reiki, o Usui Fire, com a Colleen Benelli, tá? E a Colleen, ela foi extremamente generosa, fazendo um valor diferenciado para esse curso, tá? Então, com forma de pagamento, inclusive, totalmente em reais, portanto, vocês não vão sentir essa flutuação do dólar, que a gente fica olhando o dólar todo dia, ele vai para lá, vai para cá, né? Sobe, desce, sobe, desce, sobe, desce. Vocês não vão sentir porque ela foi tão generosa que ela fez em reais e parcelado. Então eu queria falar isso para vocês, né? Lembrar isso, o tamanho da generosidade da Colleen. Lembrando que ela mora em outro país, que os custos dela são nessa moeda e que são diferentes dos nossos, então ela realmente está sendo extremamente generosa conosco, tá? E as inscrições estão abertas, estão no meu website, tá? Para quem quiser, eu vou colocar o link aqui, vocês vão receber esse link também por e-mail, tá? E realmente ela deu um desconto para pagamento à vista também, para quem quiser fazer o pagamento à vista. É tudo via PayPal, da forma mais simples possível. E qualquer pessoa que tiver dificuldade para efetuar pagamento ou tiver dúvida, qualquer coisa, por favor, entre em contato ou comigo ou com a Beth Costa, que está aqui, que a gente vai poder ajudar vocês da melhor forma, tá? Antes de seguir, eu gostaria também de agradecer a Helena, né, por estar aqui com a gente, traduzindo, e também a Robyn teve que, infelizmente, já sair, ela deixou um forte abraço para todos, agradeceu muito de estar aqui conosco. Que pessoa incrível também, né? Nós somos muito, muito felizardos de recebermos essas duas pessoas maravilhosas aqui em português. E agora eu vou passar para a próxima pergunta, tá? Então, a próxima pergunta feita foi: quais são os principais desafios éticos que um profissional do Reiki pode enfrentar e como podemos superá-los?
Interestingly enough, I think that we do not have as many challenges with ethics, with people drawn to Reiki, than perhaps in other practices or professions that people manage. I have probably taught, I don't have my exact numbers, I've never counted, but probably 3,000 to 4,000 people. I think I've probably done at least 12,000 sessions, if not more. Like I say, I've never, don't hold me to the exact numbers, but in that ballpark. And I would say that I have only encountered maybe 5 times where people came without integrity. Challenging personalities can happen, but that's different because that's something that people can heal and we can support them in that healing. When somebody doesn't have integrity, then there's not much you can do about it. So in those 5 cases, and I'm just throwing that idea out that that's how many there were, I'd have to go back and specifically look. I explained to them that I'm not their teacher and I didn't teach them. And so I would have to say that it was uncomfortable. It definitely required me to step into my own inner authority and to be comfortable with what I knew and what I was communicating. I still stayed professional. I think that's always the key that is helpful, is I handled it. I thought about each person and I thought, now, how do I handle this and stay professional? Because it was emotional. So some of them were flat out saying, misrepresenting themselves. So they were actually lying about both their skill, what they had done, and done it publicly. And it wasn't necessary. There was no reason for it. It didn't help anything. And so that to me was an integrity issue that I can't really help. Another one was somebody who came in and said, I just want a certificate so I can say I have Reiki, but I'm going to do my own modality. And can you just give me, if I pay you, can you just give me a certificate because I don't want to stay here? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I had another one that had very clear mental health issues. And it wasn't a lack of integrity, but it was outside of my skill set to be able to teach that person and to be the right teacher for them. There were a couple of others. One of them was very competitive, like she was causing trouble in the community by being competitive. And by that, I mean that she would say inappropriate things about other people, or she would call one person and create fighting among other people. And for her, I just said, I think Reiki would really benefit you. And I recommend that you find another teacher, but I'm not the right teacher for you. Because I don't really allow people to mistreat or bully people in my community. So that was another example. I have to actually really even think about it to find where it's been. Like I say, I've had some students that can be challenging students with personality differences. But that's different. That's something that it's like, well, I'm going to see if I can still be that teacher for them, if I can let Reiki help them heal and move through being difficult in the class. There have been times when I've had to take people aside, or if I'm online where it's like, we need to go into a breakout room and we will go into a room by ourselves and have a conversation. And I will tell you, it's still uncomfortable. It's still like, I do not like conflict. And, I really am uncomfortable having to like tell somebody, hey, this is, you're not okay in the class here. But that's when I'll use Reiki to bring in that personal power, that personal authority. And mostly what is really helpful is to always stay professional. I don't allow myself to say things out of emotion or to be rude or combative in any way. I stay professional, as kind as I can be. And yet kindness is sometimes saying what needs to be said. Oh, another example that I can give is of that, but this isn't a person I asked to leave the class or said I wouldn't teach. I had a person who came into the class and decided that he was going to do psychic readings on the other students in the class. And in the middle of everything, he would just suddenly say, I see this psychically for you, without their permission, without them asking. And it certainly wasn't what the class was about. So I did have to do, that was actually an in-person class. So I did have to take that person aside and say, first of all, that's not okay in the class. And second of all, that's unethical. Like, you should not read people without their permission. But those were, it was even a long time ago. And like I say, it's still uncomfortable, but I let Reiki do it. And more than anything, if I can rely on staying professional, that is what is helpful. I can hold my composure, know that I'm saying things in the best way possible. That is then how that comes through the best way for me.
Maravilhoso, muito bom. Quantas experiências, né? E tudo isso pode acontecer numa sala de aula. E a gente precisa, acho que, se conectar com o Reiki para lidar da melhor forma.
I'm
Como
sorry, I can't hear right now, so I'm not sure. Can you start that over, Sue? Yes,
sim,
yes.
o que eu disse foi, muitas vezes essas situações podem acontecer em sala de aula, né? Claro, são casos raros, mas acredito que possa acontecer algumas coisas em sala de aula. É importante a gente estar preparado, né, para lidar da melhor forma possível. Então, esse é um tema bastante importante. Que bom que essa pergunta veio à tona, né? E se conectar com o Reiki, tratar com amorosidade, com carinho todos, para deixar em sala de aula, né, o Reiki trabalhar. Basicamente, elas vieram para receber Reiki e, enfim, né, algumas situações podem ser complicadas. Eu vou passar para a próxima pergunta, que é a pergunta da Flor.
And
Ela
I
pergunta,
just have time for one more question. Unfortunately, I have another appointment that I do have to get to, but I do have time for another question.
ok. Então, gente, essa vai ser a última pergunta, tá? A pergunta da Mary foi a seguinte: ela pergunta, né, gostaria de saber a opinião da Colleen se o Animal Reiki, né, o SRT Animal Reiki, deveria ou não ser regulamentado por normas jurídicas, como é regulamentada a profissão do médico, do enfermeiro e outras profissões. Qual a opinião da Colleen sobre isso?
I don't think it should be lawfully regulated, and that question comes up a lot here in the United States. And there have been, Florida, for instance, is one state that did pass some laws that you have to have a massage license in order to practice Reiki. I think the most important part with Reiki is the training. And particularly with animal Reiki, the training, what we know and what I personally did is that I used Reiki the way I had it for years before we wrote the animal Reiki course. But one of the things that became so apparent was in the using animal Reiki, the training is really beneficial. And that is because of the priorities that the animals have taught us about what they need from us. So the priorities are, first of all, that the animals have their own right to say yes or no to receiving Reiki. They rarely say no. If they say no, usually it's because it's dinner time or something like that. And maybe later, they'll say, well, maybe later, but not right now. So the animal's own right to Reiki. But then as a practitioner, really learning about your safety and learning about how you observe animals, because it's very different in animal Reiki than it is in human Reiki. In human Reiki, often we have our eyes closed. With animal Reiki, we need to be observing where we are, unless we're at a distance and we're not with the animal. But if you are actually with the animal, you need to be observing them. And their consent is the other big piece of it. And so I think the animal Reiki, to me, the training is what really allows people to practice animal Reiki in a good way. And I personally am not a fan of the government having creating laws and regulation, because Reiki changes and evolves and develops, and it teaches us. And for instance, the animals are what taught us what they wanted in the animal Reiki course. And they taught us how to use Reiki to help us. So I would rather it come from that type of an avenue than for somebody who doesn't know Reiki to decide what those laws and regulations would be. And that's what we found. In fact, recently in our government here in the state where I live in Oregon, a woman, one of the senators, wanted to pass legislation and laws that would regulate Reiki, and she didn't know anything about it. And it was clear in the language of the law that they didn't know anything about Reiki, because the law they were trying to pass wouldn't have even made it through the courts because it's not legal to pass laws like that here, over spiritual practices or healing practices that don't cause harm. So I really would like to not see Reiki regulated, other than by our own integrity and training and skill development that we achieve.
Muito obrigada. Que maravilhoso, gente, que maravilhoso. Bom, com essa pergunta, então, a gente acho que começa a encerrar o nosso encontro dessa noite. Nossa, foi maravilhoso vocês virem para a gente poder ouvir a Colleen, né? E se algum de vocês quiser abrir o microfone para agradecer ou falar alguma coisa, fiquem à vontade, por favor, antes da gente encerrar.
Yes. Okay. So when I do the invocation, I feel like we all come into the same room and we do what closes the circle. So now we're going to open the circle. So go ahead and just place your hands. This is called gasho, or you can just place your hands comfortably on your heart. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Look inside and say thank you to you for how deeply you love and how deeply you care in this life, in this world. Thank you for who you are. And we say thank you to each other. Our circle is certainly divinely ordered, and we were all meant to be here together today in this beautiful community of people who care deeply about contributing wellness into this world, being community, sharing through all of the ways of our lives that we can be together in these ways. We're so very grateful. And again, we say thank you to Reiki and to the enlightened ones in the heavens, all of the gifts that are here from the divine for us. And thank you again to the teachers who came before us, the descendants who come after us, as we open our hearts and we receive this beautiful light and love, revealing your authentic self. Thank you. And so it is. Thank you so much, everyone. I do need to get going. So Sue, I'm not sure if you still want to share with everybody. I wish I could stay. Next time we'll make it longer. Last time we did an hour and a half. So we said, okay, this time we're going to do 2 hours. So maybe we just need more time. So, thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. So lots of love to all of you. I hope you guys can join us for the Reiki Master class on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Helena will be the translator, and Sue and I will be there together, and we would love to see you there. And if not there, we'll see you next time here. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye now. Thank you.
Colleen, bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
E gratidão, Helena, também, pela linda interpretação.
Bye.
Foi ótimo, maravilhoso. A sua presença foi sensacional. Mais uma interpretação muito bem feita, não é? Ah, que bom, gente. Muito bom a gente poder contar com a Helena, né, para fazer essa tradução. Foi ótimo, foi ótimo. Pessoal, como vocês puderam ver, a Colleen Benelli é uma mestre de Reiki sensacional. Ela realmente é uma mestre de Reiki que é conhecida internacionalmente como uma pessoa que impulsiona as pessoas para o caminho com Reiki, justamente porque ela traz dessa forma leve, solta, sem muitos... ela não traz medo para o aluno, receios. Então, eu realmente fiquei muito feliz dela vir, se disponibilizar com a gente 2 vezes, né? Então, ela tem uma agenda bem agitada mesmo, sabe? Puxada. E ela pôde estar com a gente 2 vezes, né? De forma gratuita. E, bom, a gente vai ter esse curso agora no final de setembro. E eu acho que a gente não vai ter de novo condições tão boas quanto essa, sinceramente, porque o dólar tá subindo, né? A gente sabe disso, tá alto. E ela fez em reais pra gente e fez com desconto. E o parcelamento que ela tá fazendo em 12 vezes, ele é por recorrência. Então, o valor inteiro, ele não entra no cartão, sabe? Ele entra todo mês no cartão. Então, todo mês entra a parcela. É diferente de quando a parcela entra inteira, sabe? Daí ele toma aquele volume do cartão. Ou seja, pessoal, ela tá sendo uma mãe mesmo, né? Eu acho que é uma oportunidade sensacional de vocês poderem fazer um curso com uma pessoa como ela. Para os que são já mestres Holy Fire, eu sei que temos alguns aqui, vocês provavelmente notaram como ela... desculpa, antes de continuar, Helena, se você quiser se retirar, fica à vontade, tá bom? Fica aqui o nosso abraço, nossa gratidão para você, viu? Então, vocês podem... não sei se vocês notaram, né, quem é mestre de Reiki Holy Fire, como ela conduziu a experiência de cura. Ela trabalha, sabe, gente, com o William Lee Rand de 5 a 6 dias por semana, né? E atua diretamente no desenvolvimento do Holy Fire. E existem formas de você fazer, né, o Reiki, a sua sessão, a sua prática, e o fato dela fazer de um jeito e o William ter outro sabor, né, então um tem um jeito, o outro tem outro jeito, se a gente vai conectando com os professores, né, os diferentes professores, a gente vai vendo a infinidade de possibilidades que tem na nossa frente. Então, eu acho que é muito válido ter essa experiência, é muito válida ter essa experiência com ela também. Então, realmente, eu acho que se você está com vontade de fazer esse curso e está pensando, puxa, mas será que eu vou agora? Olha, medita com Reiki, medita com Holy Fire. E se você tiver maiores dificuldades, conversa com a gente, que a gente sempre vai ver o que a gente pode fazer para ajudar vocês. Tá bom? Então, enfim, fica aqui esse meu compartilhamento para vocês. Ela é uma mestra incrível, né? Infelizmente, ela não pôde ir para o International Reiki Retreat, que eu estava lá em Sedona por uma questão familiar, né? Ela não pôde viajar. E porque ela não pôde viajar, ela simplesmente ela ligou para mim e falou assim: Susana, você pode fazer a minha apresentação? E lá fui eu fazer a apresentação no The International Reiki Retreat. E eu acho que eu só pude fazer essa apresentação porque eu tenho tido todo esse contato e toda essa orientação com ela, né? Porque é outro idioma, é outras pessoas, outro público, completamente diferente. Foi emocionante, foi realmente muito, muito legal, sabe? E as inseguranças vêm, né? Assim como a gente falou tanto da questão da insegurança, de ensinar e tudo mais, gente, vai, assim, ao vivo, né? Presencial, umas 120 pessoas ali na minha frente me assistindo, não tinha câmera, quer dizer, tinha o pessoal do online também, além de tudo tinha o pessoal do online, mas eu não estava atrás da câmera que nem eu tô aqui, né? Você tem uma certa proteção no online, no presencial, né? Aquela todo mundo em volta. E eu acho que ela me ajudou bastante a estar preparada para estar nesse momento, né? E eu sinto que ela é uma pessoa que impulsiona mesmo. Os melhores mestres licenciados foram treinados por ela, né? Então, e quando eu entrei para o licenciamento e ela se tornou minha mentora, eu recebi várias mensagens dos meus colegas licenciados falando assim: você não poderia estar em melhores mãos. Então, eu realmente sou muito grata por tudo que ela fez e um dos meus objetivos é trazer para os brasileiros, para os portugueses, para as pessoas que falam português, né, o que eu estou recebendo lá fora, que não é pouco. Não é pouco mesmo, porque é muito treinamento. E trazer ela para vocês, assim, olha, tá aqui ela, né? Gente, ela, se o Holy Fire tem um pai, tem uma mãe também, sabe? Então, a sensação que eu tenho é um pouco essa, é uma oportunidade fantástica. Então, eu queria compartilhar essa sensação que eu tenho no meu coração com vocês, né? Então, como eu sinto, como eu vejo, porque eu realmente acho que é uma oportunidade única. E eu espero que vocês tenham aproveitado muito essa noite, estado com ela. É, é, é mais do que um conteúdo teórico, é toda uma energia e uma amorosidade, né, que a gente tem aqui distribuída. E eu fico muito feliz de vocês estarem aqui juntos, né, porque eu sei que vocês falam essa mesma linguagem do amor. Então, que a gente distribua isso, né, ao redor do mundo, cada um do seu jeito. Tá bom, pessoal? Bom, acho que a gente vai encerrando, né? Acho que a gente vai encerrando, então. E foi uma felicidade enorme estar com vocês mais uma vez. Semana que vem a gente tem Reiki Online Experience, e daí eu vou poder conversar um pouco mais com vocês, contar um pouco mais de Sedona, como foi. Eu passei muito tempo com o William, muito mais do que eu imaginei. Foi fantástico, realmente. Tá tanto tempo com ele, foi muito tempo. E, enfim, muitas coisas boas para contar desse processo. Então, enfim, quinta-feira que vem a gente está de volta, né? E a gente vai se falando. E não se esqueçam, qualquer dúvida, assim, vocês estão na cabeça, eu vou, mas não tenho certeza. Gente, manda uma mensagem para mim, manda uma mensagem para a Beth, tá? E a gente vai ajudar vocês da melhor forma, tá bom? A gente conversa, dá um jeito, vê o que dá para fazer, conversa com a Colleen, e enfim, tá bom? O importante é vocês poderem vir para o curso, certo? Ok? Eu também, Kátia, que bom. Pessoal, olha, beijo no coração de cada um abraço reikiano forte, certo? Em vocês, e a gente vai se falando, pessoal, tá bom? Tchauzinho, gente. Tchau, tchau. Tchau, tchau. Boa noite, boa noite.